Welcome students. Today I am going to take a basic concept of genes, DNA and RNA, which is covered under fundamentals of biotechnology. Here I am Pankit Shah going to introduce with this DNA and RNA concepts. It starts with breakthrough discovery. In 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick discovered double helical structure of DNA, which is the very starting point when the first DNA double helical structure was discovered, and they have explained it in February 28, 1953, when this discovery was announced. The first paper appeared in Nature magazine, very reputed worldwide magazine, on April 25, 1953. This photograph shows its first page imprint of the same publication. This is their laboratory structure where they have developed this DNA structure, and these are Watson, Crick and Francis. Watson and Crick awarded Nobel Prize in 1962 for this discovery, DNA structure. And here we are going to explain the DNA structure. DNA, as we have said, it is double helical structure. There are two strands of helix. It contains sugar phosphate group, phosphate moiety, and sugar phosphate backbone, which is shown in this blue line, right? And it is made up of adenosine or thymine bases, or guanine or cytosine bases. There are adenine bind to thymine with 2 hydrogen bond between them, and guanine bind to cytosine with 3 hydrogen bond between these two strands. These are shown weak hydrogen bonds between adenine and thymine. There are 2. Between guanine and cytosine there are 3 hydrogen bonds. And this sugar phosphate moiety, phosphate and glucose, these 3 made a nucleotide of DNA. This is another structure which basically shows physical properties, like its diameter is 20 angstrom. There is a minor and major groove in DNA, and there is a 10 angstrom major groove distance, which is apart from axis of the DNA structure, and there is a space of 3.4 angstrom in between these 2 base pairs. And the entire one helical structure is made up of about 10.4 base pair in DNA. This is one more representation which includes base pair A or T joined with a hydrogen bond G or C combined with hydrogen bond, 3 hydrogen bond, 2 hydrogen bond. This is sugar phosphate backbone made up of sugar and phosphate, and these 3 combinedly made a nucleotide of DNA. This show a typical structure, how adenine and thymine related to each other with a distance of 11.1 angstrom between 2 DNA strands, and guanine and cytosine with 10.8 angstrom of distance between 2 DNA strands. Nucleoside and nucleotide, the fundamental building block of DNA. As we have seen, the nucleotides are a fundamental building block of DNA, which are made up of base, sugar moiety and phosphoric acid phosphate. How they are joined together to form a nucleotide is shown in the next figure. It's a phosphoester bond between sugar moiety and phosphoric acid, and there is a glycosidic bond between base and this sugar. So combining these 2 bonds with these 3 components, with phosphoester bond, glycosidic bond and base, sugar and phosphate moiety, it will form an entire nucleotide. Typical representation of DNA structure. This is animated form of DNA structure. Now we will understand ribose sugar, which is made up of 2 structures, purine or pyrimidine, in which adenine and guanine are purines. This is a typical chemical structure of adenine and guanine, and there are 3 pyrimidines: cytosine, uracil and thymine. These all 4, adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, are found in DNA. Uracil is found in RNA. Again, nucleotide structure. These are all nucleotides. Purine nucleotides include adenosine, ATP. This includes GMP, guanosine nucleotide, pyrimidine nucleoside, cytosine and thymine with sugar and phosphate moiety, all 4 structures. Then there is a Chargaff rule. Chargaff rule states that DNA from any one cell of all organisms should have 1:1 ratio base pair rule of pyrimidine and purine bases, and more specifically that the amount of guanine is equal to cytosine and the amount of adenine is equal to thymine. So basically this rule states that there is an equal amount of adenine with thymine and guanine with cytosine. They base together in a typical DNA structure. And this rule was discovered by Erwin Chargaff. That's why it's called Chargaff's rule. This is the table of a particular percentage of A, G, C, T individual nucleotide with a ratio of A by T and G by C, which is equal to 1. We can see that. So which proves that there is a equal amount of A percentage with G and C percentage. Now we will see chemical and physical properties of DNA. The first property is adsorption. The bases in DNA absorb ultraviolet light, the wavelength of 260 nanometer. We can always estimate DNA concentration using this nanometer of wavelength. This absorption can be monitored using a spectrophotometer. The instrument which measures its concentration is called spectrophotometer. This is one method used to figure the concentration of DNA solution. The more DNA present, the higher the absorption. जितने ज़्यादा अमाउंट में DNA present होगा उतना ज़्यादा absorption वो करेगा. Then the other property is density. Density can be measured by CSCL density ultracentrifugation, can be used to estimate G plus C content. GC base pairs are more dense than AT base pair. Density study shows that existence of satellite DNA. This helps in understanding satellite DNA, finding of satellite DNA, and when there are more GC base pair than compared to AT, the DNA will be more dense. Then denaturation. DNA is considered denatured when the double stranded DNA molecule converted into 2 single stranded molecule. When 2 DNA strands are separated and converted into single stranded structure, it is called denatured DNA because 2 helix are now separated. As the thermal energy increases, the frequency of hydrogen bond breaking between molecules increases. When we apply thermal energy, the hydrogen bond between 2 strands breaks and falls apart, which causes denatured single stranded DNA. G and C base pair are held together by 3 hydrogen bond, and A and T by 2 hydrogen bond, as we have seen, takes more energy to separate a molecule. Means G and C bonding have 3 hydrogen bonds, so it will take more energy if the content of GCA is high in DNA. Now hydrophobicity of solvent. Hydrophobic substance will allow the bases in DNA to dissolve into the solvent. Hydrophobic solvents are able to dissolve DNA in themselves, whereas hydrophilic substances will keep the DNA stack upon one another and in a orientation most favor hydrogen bonding between DNA. So they will not dissolve DNA, they will support the DNA strands in hydrophilic solution. Then another factor is pH. Acidic pH causes breakage of phosphodiester bond between nucleotide and breakage of the N-nucleosidic bond between the sugar and purine bases. It will cleave phosphodiester bond. Alkali above pH 11.3, all hydrogen bonds are disrupted and DNA is totally denatured. Above 11.3 pH, DNA become denatured and single-stranded DNA. Salts will stabilize DNA double helix. Salts is used to precipitate DNA during practicals, right? One more property of DNA is to show electrophoresis. DNA has a negative charge that is proportional to its size. The higher the DNA size, the more negative charge is present on the DNA due to phosphate moiety. This is due to the negative charge phosphates in the sugar phosphate backbone. If DNA is placed in an electric field, it will migrate towards the positive electrode. Of course, it has a negative charge, so it will attract or migrate towards the positive electrode. The smaller pieces migrate faster than larger pieces, means the smaller DNA molecule moves faster than that of the larger pieces when retarded. Larger pieces have trouble squeezing through the gel matrix and are hence retarded, while smaller pieces migrate easier. So smaller pieces of DNA will migrate easier and go along, and longer pieces stay separated. So this method is used to separate different DNA samples right, and which basically done by gels. So there are two types of gels. Agarose is used to separate a fairly large DNA molecule, 5 million to a few thousand base pair, and polyacrylamide used to separate a small pieces of DNA, 2 to several hundred base pairs. There is a polyacrylamide gel and agarose gel. Both have different purpose. This is used to separate small DNA molecule, and this is a fairly large DNA molecule. This size of DNA is estimated by comparing its migration through gel to DNA molecule of known size. Then we run a ladder and we compare our sample size and our known ladder size, and then we can have an estimation of the length of DNA we have obtained in a sample. So whatever we have learned till about DNA is of B DNA, B form of DNA, which is naturally occur in the cell, right? And there are some other forms of DNA like A DNA and Z DNA, which have a slightly different physical characteristic than that of B form, which is naturally occurred, which is summarized in these two tables, right? In this table there is a differentiation between A, B and Z, likely in this table. There is a right-handed form which is B form, and a left-handed form which is Z form. After DNA we are going to learn about RNA, which is ribose nucleic acid. DNA was deoxyribonucleic acid. So we are going to understand what is the difference between deoxyribose and ribose, right? Firstly, there are three major classes of RNA: messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA and transfer RNA, which is abbreviated as mRNA, rRNA and tRNA. Their functions are, they codes for protein, right? mRNA codes for protein, ribosomal RNA do translation, helps in translation, and transfer RNA helps in translation. Their distribution is in all organisms. RNA is present in all organisms. Difference between RNA and DNA: RNA nucleotide contain ribose sugar, it has ribose sugar, and DNA has deoxyribose sugar. So what is other differences? Has the base uracil, right? It has a uracil as a base instead of thymine in DNA. The third one is presence of a hydroxyl group at the 2' position of the ribose sugar. It has a presence of hydroxyl group, OH group, at the 2' position of ribose sugar. That why it is ribose nucleic acid. And deoxyribose means lacks a hydroxyl group at the 2' position of the ribose sugar. And the last difference is RNA is usually single stranded, whereas DNA is double helical structure. It is the double stranded structure. First one, mRNA, messenger RNA, which helps in transcription, transcripts of structural genes, right? They are transcripts, and code all the information necessary for the synthesis of polypeptide of protein, right? They have an entire chain of nucleosides which codes for a specific protein. Intermediate carrier of genetic information, deliver genetic information to the cytoplasm. The protein synthesis involves transcription and translation, in which transcription results from DNA to RNA. So these happen inside the nucleus. So entire information is collected into nucleus as mRNA. Then mRNA migrate from nucleus to a cytoplasm and cause translation, and then it will be converted into protein. So this transfer information, genetic information from this nucleus part, DNA is in nucleus, mRNA is in nucleus, then it will transfer to cytoplasm, to the cytoplasmic part. This is a typical structure of human mRNA, which contains 5' cap, UTR, untranslated region, starting codon, start codon, then coding sequence which code for one specific protein, and then stop codon where transcription will be stopped, then 3' translated region, and then poly A tail. mRNA to amino acid dictionary. This dictionary is basically showing a 3 base pair codon system, in which there is a first base in codon, second base in codon, and third base in codon. If the first one is U, second one is U, and third one is U, it will code for phenylalanine amino acid. Similarly, green one, A, U and G, which codes for methionine, which is start codon for every transcription, right? And there are 3 stop codon, which is shown in red. A typical table which is showing transcription and translation tables, which amino acid will be transcribed and with their R chain structures, right? Next one, tRNA, transfer RNA. RNA molecule 70 to 100 nucleotide long. The secondary structure of tRNA resembles D loop, anticodon loop and T loop, which is shown here. Anticodon loop carry correct amino acid to their position along the mRNA template to be added to the growing polypeptide chain. So it helps in detecting with this anticodon region which mRNA coding is present there, and after that it will, the acceptor arm contains a particular amino acid specific to that codon, and it will release it into the next polypeptide chain and added a particular amino acid into a protein gaining chain during translation. So this helps in translation as we have shown above. Last one, rRNA, central component of the ribosome. Ribosome present in cytoplasm of every cell, and these are central component of them. Ribosomes are made up of this rRNA and protein. Ribosome factory for protein synthesis composed of ribosomal RNA and ribosomal proteins. rRNA provides a mechanism for decoding mRNA into amino acids. rRNA interact with the tRNA during translation by providing peptidyl transferase activity. So there are two subunits you can see, eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Eukaryotes have 60S and 40S, two subunit combining as 80S subunit of ribosome, and this has 50S and 30S. This one is smaller and larger subunit combined as 70S ribosome in prokaryotes. Now RNA has some different structure shows inside a cell, which includes bulge structure, internal loop structure or hairpin structure. These are typical secondary structures of RNA, which we are not going to see them in detail, but we are going to see that these are different kind of RNA structures which are possible in the cell. Now organization of DNA in eukaryotes means where DNA lies inside the cell. As we know, DNA majorly made up of three components: outer cell membrane, in between cytoplasma and central part nucleus. So DNA is present on chromosome of nucleus. Chromosome are present in nucleus, and chromosome is made up of DNA. How they are made up of DNA? This is the typical structure. These are proteins. As you can see in circles, these are histone proteins on which DNA strand winds and they form a chromosome like this, and these chromosomes are present in nucleus. Double stranded DNA molecule packaged by a histone and scaffold proteins. Now the last concept of genome and gene. What is genome? Totality of genetic information of an organism encoded in the DNA. For some viruses it is RNA. So genome is totality of genetic information present in an organism. In a particular cell, the total content of DNA present is called its entire genome, but some viruses doesn't contain DNA, so for them the total genome is RNA content of that particular virus. Now gene is the basic unit of inheritance. It is a segment within a very long strand of DNA. Gene is a locus present in DNA strand with specific instruction for the production of one specific protein. So it will code for any one specific protein. That much of DNA strand is called gene. Genes located on chromosome on its place or locus, right? So wherever it is present on DNA, it is called its place or locus on DNA. So this is a typical diagrammatic representation. This is promoter region, this is protein coding region which codes for a single protein, and then stop codon. From here it will stop. Then again promoter region code for a second protein, so this is second gene. This is one gene, code for one protein, similar structure, code for second protein, entire DNA strand, and there are segment of genes inside it. Thank you.